It's about that time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of City Views. I'm your host, Jacque Williams, and I'm so glad to be able to bring to you this community service. We want to thank the sponsor of City Views, Toth Insurance Agency, located at 1151 East Main Street. Better protection, better value. Contact Steve and the crew, and they'll be more than happy to help you with all of your insurance needs. Also, ladies and gentlemen, today's show is going to be a little, let's just say, celebratory, because in light of everything that's going on, we want to make sure that we can bring you some good news. So we do have some good things to bring to you in this segment of What's Cooking, and we want to take this time to welcome the subject of our of our segment, the one and only 65th District State Rep, Michelle Cook. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Michelle, man, there's so much to talk about. There's so much going on, and we're coming to the tail end of what's been a very, let's just say, challenging year. Can you reflect a little bit about 2020 and how it's brought you to where you are now?
Well, I would say that I wish that we could go back and press rewind and really do 2020 all over again, and do it in a manner that we can kind of wipe out the devastation that we have seen, you know, not only here in the state of Connecticut, here in Torrington, but across our country. It's heartbreaking in that regard. But I would say that there's also been some incredible things that have happened out of 2020. We've seen, you know, unity and support for first responders and medical professionals that we, might have taken for granted pre-pandemic. We've seen the likes of community gathering. Although we see that there are many folks that are in need more because of the unemployment rates, we also see communities gathering together and truly supporting those folks, whether it be, from the food banks or, we've had the Farms of Family food giveaways, wishing that we never had to do it, but being proud and honored to be able to be a part of that and be able to help folks with what they need. And quite frankly, as I drive around town, I see a little bit more spirit in the holiday than I think that I've seen in years past. Whether it be more candles in the windows or one or two strands of lights outside. I think that we're all looking for a little bit of joy and hope. And that leads us to a variety of other things that have happened. Obviously, it wouldn't fall upon us to not say that we had seen a very unprecedented presidential election, of which we know right now is still being debated in courts. But at the same time, we also had our own elections right here. I'm honored and privileged to have been reelected and to be able to go back to serve the residents of the city of Torrington and the state of Connecticut for another 2 years. So, that was good in the happenings. We've seen students overcome, we've seen families overcome, and we now see a vaccination for this virus that we were never really truly prepared for on the horizon, that could actually be in our state as early as possibly by the time that this airs. These are things that, as much as we have turmoil, we have positive things. And quite frankly, I think that we need to continue the positive, continue to support our small businesses, continue to support our community members, reach out to our neighbors and our elderly folks. And it doesn't take 5 minutes to pick up the phone, drop off a plate of cookies, or send a card in the mail. At the same time, if you're not comfortable going in to eat or what have you, stop by and grab a gift card or order some takeout, because our small businesses, especially those restaurants, they're still really seeing the struggle until folks are absolutely comfortable to go back 100%.
Now, Michelle, I can appreciate some of the challenges and some of the triumphs that you just mentioned. However, preparing and going forward for the future is going to be an even more challenging situation. Now, you have just been selected to return to the Capitol as the deputy in the legislative session. And yesterday, when we had an opportunity to talk in the government relations committee meeting, the one sentiment that I picked up was that the reelected representatives returning to Hartford seem to be a little more willing to coalesce in terms of bridging the divide, and kind of lowering the hyper-partisan environment that's happening all over the country. So I think the residents of this community can be somewhat assured that going forward, there's going to be goodwill on both sides to meet the challenges going forward. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about how your new committee assignments and your role as the deputy legislator in the House is going to help you put some of these issues front and center so that they can be discussed in a more robust manner amongst your colleagues in the House?
You know, I think that the one thing that should not fall short on anybody is Connecticut General Assembly is not the DC politics of the world. You know, traditionally there is good bipartisanship. You know, 85 to 90% of the pieces of legislation that come out of the House and the Senate and that are signed by the governor are bipartisan. You know, there is, you know, depending on the topic, 10 or 15% of the topics that do divide us. But they don't divide us in a blanket straight this or straight that. And I think that as we move forward, short of what we already know, we know that we must continue to work together to make a good, effective policy change. You know, so I have been working on nursing home reform and all of the things that we have learned during the pandemic. I was working on it pre-pandemic. This is not something that takes a Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated voter and separate us. Regardless of party, we all need a place to go if we need a rehab, if we find that we need care as we mature in life. You know, we all need medical care. So that does not pick party lines. That affects all of us, young and old, doesn't matter, you know, race or what have you. And politics should never, ever fall into that, which is something that you and I have discussed several times here regarding the pandemic. But I believe that my work and my efforts over the last several years moving forward and working on my nursing home group, and I'm chairing the subcommittee part of the staffing level concerns in nursing homes, that will be able to come to the forefront. And I hope and I pray every day that we see long-term change in that regard. But we're also talking about many more things than just everything that circums nursing homes. You know, we're talking about how we can collectively support everybody to get a vaccination rolled out, how we could collectively support our students and our educators to be able to get back in school in a manner that is full-time and as normal as possible safely. We see bipartisanship on being able to allow businesses to operate in maybe different manners, and hopefully, and I, again, it's one of those things that I keep in my prayers every day, that we can continue that momentum to get these folks that are not able to be open at all or full-time at 100% capacity, get them back out there. You know, we see all of those things collectively working together. And as you said that yesterday, you know, businesses should not be party line. Healthcare should not be party line. We recognize that there might be some fundamental differences how we solve budgetary problems or what the priorities might be between one side of the aisle or the other. But at the end of the day, we were elected in November, and that should be the end of the partisan politics. and we should continue to move together to better our community, better our state, and better our country. And I think that you did see a little bit more of that yesterday.
Absolutely. And some recent polls that I was just looking at clearly demonstrated that the American people want our government on every level working in a more bipartisanship effort. So I think that you're generally, basically right now, I think we're in a pretty good place in terms of our regional representations and their approach into going into this session. So, and I would encourage people to the opportunities that you have to participate in those government relations meetings. I think people should look into those because they're very informative. You get the information right there on the spot. And in this coronavirus environment, a lot of communications that are taking place in this manner are very convenient and accommodating. So, once a month for an hour, people can talk to our local representatives and get the straight scoop on what's going on.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And our chamber does some great things. So if folks are looking to figure out how to get involved with the chamber, they're right on Kennedy Drive. Reach out to Joanne and her incredible staff over there, and they can help you. But not only is it a part of that, but it is definitely training and outreach and education that I think that really serves our community very well. Not to mention the good stuff that they do in that give back type of a manner as well. So,
absolutely. Now, there is some concerns on the horizon, Michelle. Now, in our previous conversations, we've always kind of had that basic line of delineation that separated state politics from national politics. However, we are in a situation right now where those two are converging at warp speed, and the decisions that are being made right now on Capitol Hill are directly impacting the situation here in Connecticut as they are other states in the nation. Talk to our audience a little bit about those issues that are going on at the national level that are going to be affecting the residents here in the state of Connecticut and specifically in the 65th district.
So I think that that's very broad, right? As we know, we get federal funding that trickles down to the state, that trickles down to us right here, whether that be municipal aid, healthcare aid, educational aid, you fill in the blank. We rely on a lot of things from the feds. We have seen them come to the table months ago and be able to assist with a stimulus package to help folks as they've been unemployed. They've been able to fund us with CARES Act dollars during this coronavirus pandemic. We rely on a lot of that to be able to offset some things. You heard that yesterday on how we spend some of those COVID dollars and through the CARES Act. And a lot of that's been able to help us buy computers for students. It's helped us buy PPE for healthcare workers, not only the healthcare workers, but actually, look, we need PPE for our educators to be able to feel safe and comfortable to go back into the schools. For our bus drivers, you fill in the blank, all of that money does trickle down. And especially for those folks that have, by the misfortune, lost their job or been temporarily unemployed because of the pandemic, given the situations in their own work environment, we've been able to assist with that. So the extra $600 that folks were relying on early on in their unemployment checks came from the feds, distributed through the state. And we were able to pass that along to each, to any of the folks that applied and, were eligible for that. Also, college students were able to receive a little bit of a bonus, whether it be $250 or $300, but that makes a difference for a college student too, if they're unemployed as well, or they can use that for their educational dollars. That's just a few of the things, not to mention the huge boost that they have been with the payroll protection for businesses that were really struggling to be able to take out, sometimes a non-forgivable, or I mean, a very forgivable loan. I don't want to say non-forgivable, but a forgivable loan, that you would be able to keep your employees as long as you didn't lay them off. So that's just a tip of the iceberg of all of the things that we've seen over the last, 10 or 11 months. I think the other thing that is so vitally important that is right on our horizon right now is, again, that vaccination. We need folks to come together and understand that this is being done. Obviously, it's being done in a rapid manner, but for a very good reason. And I am not going to be the person to force anybody to do anything, but I will get the vaccination. And if it means me getting a vaccination on this show, quite frankly, to let people know that I support it and I'm comfortable with it, we all have to stand together and try to make these things work. But if it wasn't for the diligence, from Pfizer and Moderna, and using the rapid approach that they have, and having those incredibly courageous people that had volunteered for the trials, to get us to where we are today, and then we're also going to need all of that partnerships with FedEx and UPS and Walgreens and CVS and all of our other medical professionals to be able to distribute this vaccination in a very timely manner. It's had to have been a long-standing partnership that both sides of the aisle have supported to get us to where we are, I believe.
I just wonder sometimes if we're prepared for any disruptions in the deployment of this very critical vaccine at this very critical time.
So I believe we are prepared. I believe that there has been an ongoing parallel track. Not only have they been trying to perfect the vaccination, nothing's perfect. Look, we have a flu shot. People that are allergic to eggs can't get the flu shot. We see the UK have gone first, and they've had some folks that have had some reactions. And so we're learning from that. And we have also learned that with each nationality, so like I said, it's different vaccinations for different countries. So what works for us in the United States might not work for the UK, which might not work for Spain, which might not work for Italy. They've recognized that there is so many different components to this virus that one vaccination does not necessarily work for every country. So it has had to have been perfected in different areas for the different nationalities of which they are dealing with. Environments are different. I mean, that is just the way that it is. We are different, blood types and so forth and so on. So, as much as they've been doing that fast track with the vaccination and its preparedness for rollout, and then you have them now doing the approvals. Yesterday was an 8-hour hearing. You could have watched it on the Q&A with Pfizer and the doctors that are on the panel to ask those important questions. There is the thought that it will be approved by the end of this weekend, would actually be Sunday, whatever the Sunday date is. And we could feasibly have the vaccinations in the state of Connecticut by the end of next week. At the same time that they're doing all of that, you have another logistical group of people that are organizing the rollout. So that's why I'm saying you look at the CVSs and the Walgreens, and then you have the hospitals. They know that with the Pfizer vaccination specifically, it has to be kept at a very frigid temperature. So you have to have special equipment to transport it, special equipment to store it. So that is all being taken care of as well. We do know that there's some places that are not there yet, but it doesn't mean that in the state that they don't have some places that are prepared. FedEx, UPS, they have been running through logistical components of this, and they have been doing drills at airports. Like you would do a fire drill or an evacuation, they've been doing a COVID rollout drill to ensure that from here to the states of which they need to get in. And then from once they get to the state, logistically, how they get to those other freezers and storage containers, all of that is being done in a totally different manner. So it's not that you have one group of people that is doing the whole thing all together. It's definitely divided up in such a strategic matter. I've heard this likened to a war, that we are fighting a war against COVID. when we fight a war against something, we don't do it individually. We do it collectively with a variety of different folks in a variety of different arenas. That's exactly how we're doing this with the rollout. So, when we look back at all of this, it'll be an impressive feat once everything comes to total fruition.
And Michelle, I do, before we end this conversation, want to thank you because you do stand by your commitments. And one of those commitments has been to advocate for the arts and to help the arts community demonstrate the power of the arts. And I want to thank you for helping me in that process and creating the partnerships with our local food banks and charities to help the music that I'm currently producing become a part of the fundraising efforts for those entities. And I thank you for believing in me and believing in my music and doing what you've always said that you would do, and that's stand for your community.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Jacque, and let's turn the tables. You sent me an incredible song that you had done, and I was honored and privileged to endorse it and support it. And then what you decided to do with your music, I thought was beyond generous, and your way of giving back. It's everybody's little way of giving back that truly makes things work. And you have done an incredible thing. I've been honored to have worked with the Friendly Hands Food Bank down on King Street since March. And, all of that volunteerism apparently got me a position on the advisory board, which is great. You know what? Karen and the staff down at Friendly Hands have truly done yeoman's work during this pandemic, and they're continuing to do that. From the farm to families, partnership with the state and federal government to be able to drop off produce boxes, and people pick up produce boxes. I have met some incredible seniors, but you, my friend, have decided to take it at a little bit of a different route and take an incredible new song that you have recorded and decided to do something special with it. So let's take turns and you tell us what you're doing.
Well, I'm donating this particular piece, as I will other pieces, to the specific entities and food banks where they can embed the song on their websites, and people who go to the websites to purchase their songs, those entities will be able to retain 100% of those purchases. And what I'm hoping, Michelle, that'll come out of this, there was an initiative started a few years ago. Actually, it was the ground floor for what is now 5 Point Center for the Visual Arts. But the Arts and Culture Commission had an initiative called Art Space. And basically, this was an initiative to highlight venues and artists exhibiting in those venues. So I think there might be an opportunity for our local food banks and other charities to have these virtual art spaces. And hopefully I can lead that effort and get other artists to come along and help these charities implement another revenue stream for fundraising. And I think that is an example of the power of collaboration and collective community impact in terms of showing how the arts can be an economic driver and also hopefully a cultural resource as well. So, hopefully that once I plant these seeds, other artists will follow, and we can show the true collaborative possibilities that exist within our arts community and our social services community as well.
So you're really killing me here. Could you let me know the name of this song and how I can download it?
Well, the song that we're going to be doing is the Christmas song, and you can catch the download it'll be out on iTunes next week. However, we can go ahead with the implementation with the individual groups actually starting on Monday. So
Excellent.
we'll be putting together the ad for that and whatnot, and then people can actually. What I'm hoping happens is people will understand that their $1 or 99-cent purchase can be part of a larger effort from the community to actually show how collective community impact works.
And this doesn't just stop within the borders of Torrington, right? Anybody can download this. I think that that's the incredible component to the wonderful World Wide Web, that anybody can download this anywhere.
Correct. Now, we currently have 2 singles that are already out on iTunes, which those proceeds will be going out at 50%. So we have America the Beautiful and We the People that it's out on iTunes, Spotify, and all the major distribution channels. So you can go there and check it out as well. And if you purchase it there, then 50% of your proceed will go back to Torrington and helping, especially during this coronavirus, because we don't know what the long-term implications will be, and anything we can do to kind of prepare for that and provide a safety net and a backstop for those situations. And I think we want to be one step ahead of the game. And
so
now people can be a part of that.
Well, and I think that that's an incredible, ingenious way to do this, right? So my next question for you would be this: just because it's a Christmas song, or just because it's 2 other songs, once that's out there, that doesn't mean that come January 1st, that if people are still downloading these songs, that the donations stop. That will continue as long as those songs are up and live, correct?
Plus, there'll be more opportunities too after December 18th, because the EP will drop, which is 2020. So my own personal kind of commentary on the year 2020, and let's just say a perspective that some might be able to identify with, but hopefully definitely will provide a conversation piece.
You know, I think that you're starting something that's incredible, and we have some amazing, talented artists that started right here in Torrington that are in a much larger and grander scale. I think that this might give us the opportunity to reach out to them as well, and see if they might join in helping this cool and inventive thing that you've come up with, and not only bringing awareness to the arts and the community culture here in Torrington, but also giving back to our community, not just in the time of need, but all the time. With each and every little bit, it makes the community work. So absolutely, I can't thank you enough on behalf of our community, our food banks, our soup kitchens, and the like, and each and every person that will be able to listen to your incredible music. You're talented. I've known that for a very long time. I just think that it's cool that you've decided to take 2020 into a positive manner for yourself and for our community, and to bring that awareness to all. So thank you very much. I look forward to what's happening, and I will let you go back to your interview now.
Well, I'm glad I have your permission. Well, I think we have to leave a little bit for next week's show. So we'll just say to be continued for now. How's that sound?
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
Okay. Michelle, thank you.
Thank you, Jacque. I can't thank you enough. And I appreciate our conversations. And I'm hoping that the community that listens to us appreciate it well. And again, you know, to give that plug of email, it's michelle.cook@cga.ct.gov. Anything, just keep us posted and let us know what we can do to help you out.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, proudly, our personal state rep, Michelle Cook, delivering the good news right here on another episode of City Views. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for great stuff coming up, and we'll see you back